One of the questions I've gotten, maybe I'll try to do my best to answer it. The question is, where's the best place to find a mentor for a startup company? And I guess that's one of the things that we're trying to do with the Entrepreneurship Center. And in part, I know all of these guys on stage have helped other entrepreneurs, but in part it depends on what stage your company's at. There's differences in needs between somebody who's at the idea stage versus somebody who's looking to have a product developed versus a business plan stage versus you just started with 4 employees stage versus you have 15 employees and you're growing. So there's different needs, but at the very least, I'd encourage you to get involved in the Entrepreneurship Center. We have a Small Business and Technology Development Center at UNCW, which provides free counseling to small business owners. There's a Small Business Center at Cape Fear Community College that has some phenomenal free education classes. So there's a lot of resources here, and part of what we're trying to do is do a better job of marketing those and making those available and connecting a lot of the dots. So that would probably be my answer to that question. Where do you guys want to go with some of your businesses? We had a question, and let me maybe reframe it a little bit, but what are your longer term goals with the business? Now, I know there was some conversation about not having a long-term plan and adapting a lot, but are your goals to grow the companies and sell them, or are your goals to continue building, whether it's Castle Branch or Global Test Supply, and keep adding new companies and starting to build those? What are some of your longer term plans, or are there exits involved? And we'll end up with Earl, because again, I think yours is a little unique, but let's start with Robert.
I'm a believer that if you focus on building value as opposed to focusing on an exit strategy, the exit will naturally come. I would like to achieve liquidity at some point, but it's not a focal point of my day. So, we're looking to grow the business, and we've grown it at a certain rate that I think we can continue to maintain that same rate. Dollars and money, that's how you measure the game. That's, for me, it's not, it's a unit of measure. If I was climbing a mountain, it's how many feet high do I have to climb? If I'm growing a business, we're looking at dollars, but we're going to continue to put forth our very best effort and realize the results of that. And if there's a liquidity opportunity that makes sense at some point, then we'll certainly take advantage. I'm an opportunistic person. But I got caught in the trap in my prior work experience whereby, we were too focused on the exit, not focused on the core business. And that obviously hindered the exit when it came time.
Brett?
I think as an entrepreneur, it's your job to exit. You got to be focused on an exit. You don't need to stay focused on it on a daily basis, but your job is to build and sell, and then build and sell. That doesn't mean that what you build goes away. If you built it right, it's there forever, and it protects those who help build it. So it's not a negative event. It's not a cop-out by any means. It's part of the plan. It's the best payday for an entrepreneur. In order for us to continue to grow at the level we're growing at, we're looking global now. We're looking at England. We're looking at Australia, Canada, and maybe India. But I think in our industry, it's necessary that we start looking outside of the market, because the market in the U.S. is only so big, and it has its issues. So our growth is going to come from some of our niche products, some of our innovative products, but also taking our products and services and moving to other countries where our industry is relatively young, and we would have a strong advantage.
Earl?
So for us, all we focus on is every day, you got the situation out there, whatever it is, and our responsibility. Forget what I want, it's responsibility. I have to focus on providing a risk-adjusted return to investors, and that's all it is. So if it means growing it, given the environment or whatever, great. Hey, if you can't raise money, then sell it. We'll do whatever we need to do to maintain a sense of responsibility towards our investors. That's all we care about.
If I can add one more thing, there's nothing wrong with having a business that makes money. You don't have to sell it. And I think that's, my opinion, and I'm biased by certain experiences, but that's the trap. It's just, there's nothing wrong. I take more of a Warren Buffett approach. It's a fundamentally sound business. It generates cash. You're making cash. do you want to keep the goose or do you want to sell it? That's
So
You also don't want to be the last person at the party. There's very few businesses and especially if you look now, that exist strong and fertile for 25, 30 years. A business has a lifespan. Make sure that you're not there at the end of it because you've given up great rewards.
let me sort of ask an open-ended, everyone in the audience question. If you were forced to take $1,000 and invest it in one of these three companies on stage here, or three guys, I should say, or put it in the bank and get, what's the return at the moment, interest rate, bankers? Okay, nothing. Which are you going to do? How many of you are going to invest $1,000 in one of the? Interesting. Okay. Actually, it's hard to see with the lights, but it looked pretty substantial. What drives you guys, and how can we replicate more of you in this region? How can we get more Earls, I think, more Bretts, and more Roberts in this region? How can we get more entrepreneurs here, whether we grow them, whether it's doing some of the things that you talked about, or it's having them come here to start businesses and grow businesses, so that all these people who are excited to invest their $1,000 can have more options and more great opportunities to do so? I'll start with Earl.
Well, you've got stuff here, which is fine. If you want more entrepreneurial people, I'd do some of the things we talked about and some of what other organizations around here are trying to do. Get some employers in here that signal the kind of market, the kind of entrepreneurs that this market wants to expand upon. And get them here. The rest will take care of itself. You can't go find anybody in particular. It happens. So set a condition. Decide what it is you want to emphasize in a market, and I would think technology, clean tech, expand what GE does, stuff like that, what PPD does, and then people will figure it out, and entrepreneurs are always looking for opportunity, so plenty of that. Oh, hey, there's a neat opportunity here. There's really good employees. There's a good airport. What a wonderful environment. I can attract people here. I'm going to do it here. So set the condition. And don't worry about trying to find people.
Brett.
I think you're doing it. We all got here at 7:30 in the morning. There's 400 or 500 people in the room. There's not a lot of cities that can boast that they're capable of doing that. For a discussion about entrepreneurship, I think you need to do more of what you're doing well, which is usually a good business plan, and what you're doing, specifically you and the university and Rob. This is a community that talks about entrepreneurship. In my old community, when I started and I said I was an entrepreneur, people looked at me like, "Oh, so you're unemployed." Now you say you're an entrepreneur, and it's a source of pride. That's not the case everywhere. That definitely is the case here, and I think you should be proud of what you've done. If I would do any more, and we've talked about it before, I'd love to see an incubator. I'd like us to put the money together to have a physical space for people to come and incubate their ideas. In an environment that gives them a little bit of protection when there is none, when they're first starting.
That's option 3 for your $1,000, by the way. Wrap us up, Robert. What are your thoughts on this?
I think it goes back to creating awareness. I think we're doing a lot of things. We're doing a lot of the right things now, and now we just have to let people know what we're doing. And we need a consistent message. We need to deliver it. We need to find out where the entrepreneurs hang out, where they're reading, and deliver that message to the rest of the world. I read Inc. magazine, I read Entrepreneur magazine, and I continue to see advertisements for Alabama, for the whole golf course, and I'm like, why is Alabama advertising in Inc. magazine? Well, because they're trying to attract people to their state. We're not doing that, at least not that I'm seeing, and I think that's what we have to do, and then we have a product that sells itself, and I can't overstate that. The incubator would help, improving the, continuous improvement of the academic system and all the resources we have help. The Entrepreneurship Center, all the community events, it all helps. But just because we do that doesn't mean people know about it. So we have to figure out a better way to deliver the message.
Can I have a big round of applause for the panel, please? I hope you guys enjoy this. Thank you so much for taking the time. We've got a gift that we're giving to each of the panelists here. The Facebook effect. For Earl, I think it's going to become Tinder in the fireplace, but nonetheless, a small token of our appreciation. Thank you so much, guys, for taking time being here today, and thank you to all of you for being here.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's neat. Thank you.